something like this. Tag team, back again. Check it, direct it, let's begin. Party on, party people, let me hear some noise. DC's in the house, jump, jump, rejoices. There's a party over here, a party over there. Wave your hands in the air, shake the dairy, yeah. These three words mean you're getting busy. Whoop, there it is, hit man. Whoop, there it is. 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 Upside down and inside out, I'm about to show all you folks what it's all about. Now it's time for it to get on the mic and make this party hot. I'm taking it back to the old school, cause I'm an old fool who's so cool. If you wanna get down, I'ma show you the way. There it is, let me hear you say. Whoop, there it is. Come on, y'all. Whoop, there it is. A little louder. Whoop, there it is. Come on, y'all. Whoop, there it is. Louder. Whoop, there it is. Come on, y'all. Whoop, there it is. A little louder. Whoop, there it is. Come on, y'all. Whoop, there it is. Whoop, shaka, 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 shaka. Whoop, shaka, 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 shaka. Whoop, shaka, 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 shaka. Whoop, shaka, shaka, shaka. Point blank, gin and juice I drink and bent as I puff on dank. Rock the mic, I crave skin rip. Find a honey dip to dip it in. Slam dunk it, stick it, flip it and ride that B-double-O-T-Y, oh my. Ooh, that's it, come on, whoop, there it is, I'm done. Whoop, come on, whoop, there it is. Louder, whoop, give it to me. Whoop, come on, whoop, get louder. Whoop, let it hit. Whoop, come on, whoop,
Get out of my bad posture.
Yeah.
I tend to, hey, everybody.
Mark White. Hoop, there it is on the air. For the next hour, Steve Russell and ESPN basketball analyst Mark Wise will hit the hard court as they look back on the week that was and look forward to the week that is in college basketball. Hoop, there it is, courtesy of Silverback Concrete, Titan MRI, and QC Kinetics. It's full court press time. Here are Steve and Mark.
W-H-O-O-M-P as I flow to the flight from the school of bowl. Hardcore, kick the folklore wreck. 3 to the 2, where one mic.
Once again to another edition of Hoop. There it is. He is Mark Wise. I'm Steve Russell. We always enjoy talking hoops with you. We're broadcasting from Coach's podcast room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill here at Celebration Point in Gainesville. You can watch us live on Facebook, YouTube, listen to us on Spotify, YouTube Podcast, Apple Podcast, any of the almost 40 platforms you can find your favorite podcast. You can follow, like, and subscribe as you don't miss an episode. And we're taking questions and comments on Facebook Live. Just let us know what they are in the comment section. Back from your travels the past week, huh?
Yeah, I had a wild card week. I got off the SEC for a week and was at Radford on Thursday night on the U. They played UNC Asheville, trying to keep up at first place with High Point in the Big South. Radford maybe played the best game of the year for them, and Darius Nichols, people will remember that name as being an assistant here under Mike White. He's the head coach. Radford won easily. And then on Saturday, I had the nation's longest winning streak, Akron, undefeated in MAC play, one of the 2 unbeaten teams in league play still remaining. Went on the road at Ohio. They had a great crowd. Ohio played lights out and won rather handily. So if you're anywhere around first place or if you've got the nation's longest winning streak, you do not want me coming to town. So I got both the first place team and the nation's longest winning streak beat twice in 3 days. So it was a great trip. A lot of winter. There's been a lot of winter. I've got more wear out of a winter coat I have not worn in so many years. But with 2 trips to Missouri, 2 trips to Oklahoma, this combined trip, snow has followed me around, cold has followed me around. So that coat has got a lot of wear.
Speaking of wear, a little wear and tear on some of the SEC teams who are on that cut line on the bubble. Oklahoma, South Carolina got their first league win.
Big win for them. Bad loss for Texas.
Yep, bad loss for Texas. So in Vanderbilt got a nice win.
Yeah,
helps
correct.
them. So Who now, Mark, in your view, are sort of the bubble teams from the SEC as of today?
Well, I know that Lenardi has come out and said that Arkansas has a chance at 6-12. In league play. I just think at some point in time, the committee in that room, there's going to be an eye test factor. And I'm not talking about on the court. I'm talking about resume. I just don't see how anybody 6-12 is going to get in the tournament. I've said that all along. I said 8-10 gets you in, period. 7-11, if you've got the right resume, I think you've got a chance to get in. But below that, I just don't see that. So Vanderbilt's only one win away now from getting their 7th win. But when you're looking at Arkansas and Texas both have 5 wins, they've got to get 2 of the last 4. And when you're talking about Georgia and Oklahoma, I think they've got to get 3 of the last 4. So, and that in this league, if you're 4-10, chances of you getting 3 of the last 4, are rather remote. You better play really well. So there's so many bubble games coming down the stretch. I was on the phone this morning with my good friend Roy Philpott. He's got the Kentucky at Oklahoma game on Wednesday. That's got all kinds of March ramifications. The very last game of the season, I have Vanderbilt at Georgia. Ooh, so that could be a play-in game. So that's kind of where I think the SEC stands now. Mississippi State, Kentucky, they're at 7-7. They're going to get another win. They're going to be in. And then Ole Miss at 8-6, but kind of on a slide right now. I think maybe the rigors of the conference is starting to, you at some point in time in this month of late February, there is a physical fatigue and there's a mental fatigue, and teams kind of have to play through that.
If you are in a downslide like Ole Miss is, okay, and let's say that they don't really fix it, they still struggle.
Yeah.
Does the committee look at that, or do they say, look, you got your league wins, it doesn't matter when you got them?
Well, here's the thing that's a misnomer, and I'm going to go against what I just said. The committee does not see league wins in a separate category. Everything is your complete body of work.
Okay.
I just think 6-12 you can't help but have that kind of jump out at you in terms of the eyeballs. So everything, the thing about Oklahoma, for instance, is they have those 3 non-conference wins, Arizona, Louisville, Providence, that they won the Battle for Atlantis with. Well, the committee looks at those 3 wins in November just like they were played last week. There is no difference. So your complete body of work is taken into play.
Okay. Let's do our always popular segment, Questions of the Week. Franklin and Gainesville down at the half. Gators came out and smothered LSU to win by 14. Have we come back from almost every deficit game but one?
Well, I mean, what is Florida? 22-3, I think. I think Florida has proven that they can win games in different ways, and coming from behind is certainly one of them. Chinyelu goes for big-time numbers, and so that's helpful on a day maybe where the perimeter players were kind of average, quote unquote, but average is still really good for them. So it's a good win. If you're in the tournament or you're on the bubble, you're playing one of 2 kind of games right now. You're either playing a resume builder or a resume protector. For Florida, that was a resume protector.
Speaking of, I think it's Nadav in Gainesville, Chinyelu, key against LSU, 19 points, 13 boards. Does Coach Golden always position a different player to lead the team?
No. This team runs through Walter Clayton, first game, second game, third game. Now, they've got so many good supporting cast pieces. Houck, nobody even talks about Houck anymore in the numbers that he's starting to produce. He's putting up starters numbers, both in minutes played and production.
Yep. Patrick in Gainesville, LSU, dangerous game. Gators found a way to win. Team was looking to go a long way into San Antonio. Nico in Harrisburg. LSU went on a 22-2 run in the first half and really tested the Gators' defense. Did we simply forget to play our normal defense?
No, again, I'm talking about this is so predictable. I didn't know it was going to be 22-2, but in a game like that, and LSU is struggling to draw. It's human nature not to be up for every game. It just is, and especially with the grind of this league this season.
Al in Gainesville, good one here. Gators 11-3 in the league. If I told you back in December we weren't ranked, would you have believed me?
Probably not. Not 11-3. I mean, if you told me, 9-5, yeah, I'd probably be in. But 11-3 against this league in this particular year. Now, the good news is, and I'm not belittling this because you have to win the games, but Florida's had a nice stretch of games against the bottom end of the league.
Yep.
So after playing through a tough schedule, part of the schedule, now I won't remember the games now, but Oklahoma, at LSU, South Carolina, now they've got one more at Georgia. Before it gets really crazy good at the end.
Graham in St. Augustine, Gators have shot 10-plus threes in 5 straight games.
Yeah.
This is the best shooting Gator team since when?
Ooh.
Yeah, that's hard.
I mean, maybe you have to go to the 04s. Maybe you have to go to the Lee Humphrey era because I don't know that any one particular Florida player is as good a shooter as Lee Humphrey was, but they've got 3 that are right behind him.
Yes.
So they're a really good. And then occasionally Condon will make a 3, Houck will make a 3. So, yeah, they are playing elite and efficient on offense.
Ion in Gainesville, Gators winning with double digits every game. Can you see a swagger in every game?
Yeah. I mean, if you're winning those kind of games by that kind of margin, you should be playing with a swagger. But you better remember to be humble about it, too.
Yeah. Glad you said that because that's an overused term to me, swagger. Yeah, you have whatever it is, confidence. Yes, but you're right. You better be humble as well.
Well, I call it renter's mentality because success should never be owned. It should only be rented. So as long as they continue with the renter's mentality.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Very nice.
It wasn't original, trust me. I stole it from somebody.
It said in Pensacola, 3 guards scored 58 of the 86 against Oklahoma last Tuesday.
Yeah.
69% of the scoring. Are there 3 better guards in the country?
Boy, I got to tell you, as a group, as a trio, they would have to be up there with anybody. So, again, Auburn's group is really good. I also think you have to put Aberdeen in the mix.
I do too.
I mean, you have to think about 4 guys on the perimeter for Florida.
Yes.
Does anybody have a group of 4 that's better than Florida? Probably not.
His Aberdeen's role is a little unheralded, a little unsung.
Yeah, right.
But he kind of is the glue, and he has certainly developed as a shooter and a scorer. So I love him. And
Yeah,
what
he allows you to give the get out of jail free card, and I'm talking about foul trouble. I mean, if somebody gets in foul trouble on the perimeter, he's a pretty good addition.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't drop off.
Caitlin in Gainesville, Golden got a new contract last year. Believe we should give him a big raise after this season. Would he go to a blue blood school, or are we becoming a blue blood? Oh, boy, here's that debate again.
No, Florida is not a blue blood, so let's forget that conversation. Could they become one? Yeah, if they are doing these kinds of things or close to it over the next 20 years. Yeah, but that's what defines a blue blood.
Yes.
But they're playing at such a big level. Here's what I'm going to tell everybody. Enjoy this. Quit worrying about next year or 5 years from now or becoming a blue blood. Enjoy the journey that this team is on. I tell that, Kentucky fans need a huge dose of that. Indiana fans, do you think they haven't been humbled over the last 10 years, 20 years? So enjoy this journey with this group and don't worry about anything else right now.
In doing shows with him, if I had a nickel,
for every time I said that.
But he's right.
Yeah.
And I totally agree with you. I don't think fans enjoy the moment enough.
Yeah, because what it does, and rightly or wrongly, the NCAA tournament puts too much emphasis on how a season is viewed.
Yes.
This has been a fabulous season.
Yes.
And if Florida doesn't make it to the second weekend, I'm sorry, that doesn't change the fact that it was a fabulous season. It wasn't the ending they wanted, but come on, that's where you fans don't understand, I'm going to say this again, how hard it is to win one game in the NCAA tournament, much less 4 and get to the Final Four.
Marion Savannah, chemistry in 06 and 07 won it all. This team has it too. Is chemistry typically players or coach driven?
Well, okay, the difference between, in my view, the difference between chemistry and culture, the culture is coach driven. The chemistry are players driven, and that changes year to year. Your culture should never change, but chemistry between personalities can change from year to year. I also want to remind people that this team is probably doing it without an NBA first-round draft pick. The 06-07, they had 3 in the top 9.
Yeah.
I mean, they were pretty talented. Yeah. I'm not sure this group is as talented as that team was.
Palmer and Gainesville Gators getting 2 of their key players back from injury. How will that change coaching philosophy?
Well, it'll change the big man rotation more so than anything else. With Hanlogton now in the mix, it'll be interesting to see the rotation. Does Houck stay in the starting lineup? Does Condon go in? I would think, once he gets healthy, I would think Condon goes back in the lineup. Houck and Hanlogton come off the bench. I don't know about Alexis and his status, so they'll have to figure that out.
Harrison and Gainesville, Patino and St. John's beat UConn.
Yeah.
Heading to the first Big East regular season title over 40 years. But is he coach of the year? They a Final Four team.
They don't score enough from the arc for my liking. They have played, and we talked about this last week.
Yes.
They play anti-analytical. And for a guy like Rick Pitino, who embraced the three-point line before everybody else, he's kind of going against the grain again. His team is really good in the mid-range. They get the ball up and down the floor. They play quick. The thing about UConn is not nearly as good defensively. Why are they not good defensively? It has nothing to do with Hurley or the staff or the individual players. They don't have the same ingredients. They don't have the same pineapple they've had in the past to make pineapple upside down cake to be really good defensively. They're not as long. They're not as quick. And when you don't have those two things, you're not as good defensively. Ask Kentucky. Kentucky keeps talking about Kentucky fans, playing better defense. Their ceiling's very low.
Bob and Satellite Beach. Gators now have 5 players in double figures in 5 straight games. Are these stats important when it comes to Final Four ambition?
Yeah, because you want to be a difficult team to stop. You want to be a difficult team to scout. When you're an opposing coach, you want to look at the other team and go, okay, what guy do we want to take away? Well, with Florida, okay, you take away this one, the other 4 may beat you. So they're a difficult scout.
Brian in Jonesville, Houck has NBA scouts interested, starting to see more scouts at games. Do you see him getting drafted?
Man, if he keeps going on the trajectory, I think he will at least look at the process, which I think everybody should.
Yes.
I have no problem with that.
Free.
Yeah. You want to get. I think Will Richard is a better player because he went through the process. Yeah. I don't think there's any question about that. He's a more complete player. I would assume Houck will go through the process. Again. And if you can get in the first round, I've said this for years. If you can get in the first round, you need to go. But you've got to get in the first round.
Facebook Live question. Mark mentioned on your first show 2 months ago, Auburn will win it all. Are you still making the same prediction?
I don't think I said that. I think I said several things that are close to that because I have a hard time picking one team even now to win it all. I said, and I think you'll back me up on this, I said if there was a team in the league capable of winning the league this year at 16-2, there's only one.
That's correct.
And I'm going to stand by that. I don't know what Auburn is. There's something in one in the league. So I just think they're built to beat you in more ways than any other team I've seen this year.
Darren in Gainesville, interesting question here. Mike White in Georgia played hard against Auburn, couldn't overcome the Tigers. Are they now NIT bound?
Well, yeah, I'm going to go back and,
I think.
They're going to have to do something extraordinary. I think they're going to have to win 3 of their last 4. That would include beating Florida. And they're capable. Again, the grind of the SEC.
Jaden in Gainesville. Houston seems to have the best balanced team in men's basketball in the top 10 offensively and defensively. What's their secret sauce?
Well, their secret sauce is they are so good defensively. They're a little bit like, they're a better version, I think, of A&M in terms of getting on the glass and whatnot. They're really good at taking things away from you offensively. I think you kind of have to make plays against Houston and not run plays against Houston. They're a better shooting team than A&M. Cryer is really good on the perimeter. I just don't know if they're going to score enough points at the end of the day. I mean, you get a Houston team matched up against, let's say you get a Houston team matched up against Alabama in a Sweet 16 game or an Elite 8 game. They probably wouldn't meet to the Elite 8. Can they keep up? Can they keep up offensively? They'll keep Alabama down a little bit, but Alabama's still going to shoot 25 threes.
Chris in Gainesville, game day. Headed to Gainesville the first time in 8 years for the A&M game. What does this do for team morale?
In some ways, I think it puts more pressure on the home team. There's no question it's a big deal, and I hope everybody comes out. Hope the students come out to support the show. And I'm not saying that because I'm an ESPN employee.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that as a fan of basketball. I mean, it's always more fun. And you want to be, if you go, be energetic. Don't just sit there, okay? And when they say things you don't agree with, boo. I'm giving you permission.
I like it. We'll get a little more in detail here at the end of the show with the matchup with A&M.
Yeah.
Great game with A&M and Tennessee.
Yeah, and you asked me about that before we started today, and I said, rhetorically somewhat, how did Tennessee win the game? And they made threes down the stretch. Yeah. I mean, they made big shots over and over, and that's the reason why they won the game, period. It had nothing to do with their defense. A&M could not keep up the last 5 minutes offensively.
That's right. Okay, we'll take a break. Much more to come. Hoop, there it is. Stay with us.
I'm tired of you living in pain, and I want you to get real lasting relief from chronic pain in your knees, back, shoulders, and hips. QC Kinetics can get you moving again with cutting-edge regenerative treatments with no drugs, no downtime, and no surgery. Stop putting it off. Call now and schedule your free consultation. Call QC Kinetics now in Gainesville, Ocala, and the Villages. 352-400-4550. 352-400-4550.
I'm David Steele, voice of the Gators in 1984, when Brian Nasworth began a new journey, starting Quality Plumbing.
And I'm Mick Hubert. When I was the voice of the Gators, I called championship games, while Quality Plumbing was becoming champions for the Gainesville area.
I'm Sean Kelly, the voice of the Gators, as Quality Plumbing celebrates its 40th anniversary. For years to come, I'll be calling games, and Quality Plumbing will continue to be the #1 plumbing company for Gator Nation.
After you work out, you can feel worn out. Reach for Core Power and rise to a whole new level of recovery. Protein to build muscle. Electrolytes to help hydrate. The nutrition you need to power on. Champion your recovery with Core Power.
Florida Victorious is a powerful chapter in UF's NIL story.
We are
Florida Victorious.
Gator fans, let's get on board now, okay?
Florida Victorious, proud NIL partner of the Florida Gators.
The State Farm Personal Price Plan helps you create an affordable price just for you.
Contact local agent Roos Ogra for your personal price plan today.
Titan MRI, North Central Florida's premier independent diagnostic testing MRI facility. At Titan MRI, we're focused on you, the patient, having a great customer experience. Our MRI equipment is modern and 75% quieter than any unit in its class. And our MRI unit has one of the largest openings of any of the newer high-strength MRI units, which allows comfortable scanning for potential claustrophobic and larger patients. At Titan MRI, we look forward to serving you.
over 2 decades, Miapa has been a staple in Alachua County. Start your day right at Miapa, where fast and affordable authentic cuisine awaits.
We're known for serving the best Cuban coffee.
Our secret is in every sip and every bite, bringing the flavor of our culture straight to your palate. Everyone is welcome at Miapa Latin Cafe. Visit us at one of our locations and let us take you on a journey full of flavor. Miapa Latin Cafe, where every bite is a taste of tradition.
Welcome back to Hoop There It Is. By the way, if you want to send questions to the show that Mark can answer, send your questions to questions@gatorshows.com. Questions of the week brought to you by Davis Chevrolet, your premier North Central Florida dealer of Chevrolet. And by the way, I want to tell you about Silverback Concrete. They build firm foundations for generations. You stand on it. We stand by it. Silverback Concrete. All right, we are back with our Quality Play of the Week, brought to you by Quality Plumbing. You need a quality plumber? Rely on the same company Gainesville's trusted since 1984. Quality Plumbing, their name says it all. Play of the Week.
Well, Bradley was playing at home against Murray State. It's tied with 5 seconds to go. They ran a play that I just love. It's a fake handoff. And so what I'm talking about is they threw the ball in, and then they immediately throw it to a big guy. And they've got all kinds of misdirection going, and a guy comes around for a handoff. But instead of handing it off, he fakes it and he fakes the handoff and just goes right to the rim, lays it in at the buzzer. It was a really cool play. Wow. Darius Hannah makes the play for Bradley. Bradley 22-7, 13-5 in the Valley, and chasing Drake at the top there.
Is the Valley a good league this year?
Yes. I think they're underrated. I was looking the other day. I think they're around 9th in terms of ranking the leagues this year. And if you're anywhere, as a mid-major kind of league, if you're anywhere in that 9, 8 to 15 range, you're a good league.
Okay. Coach of the Week brought to you by International Diamond Center. Don't settle for a knockoff diamond when you can get the best diamonds at the best prices. For quality, selection, and value, International Diamond Center, the official jeweler of the Florida Gators. Coach of the Week.
Well, James Madison a year ago won 32 games. They were coached by a guy by the name of Mark Byington, who's now the head coach at Vanderbilt. So in this day and age, if you have a new coach in a new program, I think it's really hard to just kind of pick up the pieces and go. I mean, in this day and age of the transfer portal and paying players. However, the new coach at James Madison, Preston Spradlin, had some success at Morehead State, got the James Madison job. All of a sudden, I think the James Madison has won 6 in a row, and they're 12-4 on top in the Sun Belt, thanks in large part to a great job done by Preston Spradlin.
JMU spawns a lot of
Lefty Drizel, go all the way back.
Yeah,
yes.
People that have coached there have moved up the ladder in many cases.
Yes.
That's a good program there.
Xavier is much the same way. Before Xavier went to the Big East and became part of that.
Team of the Week brought to you by Ruse Ogra State Farm Insurance. State Farm agent Ruse Ogra is your go-to agent in Gainesville, North Central Florida, for the service you deserve at the price you want. Team of the Week.
Well, the only reason why we're down to one unbeaten team in league play in the country is because I got Akron beat on Saturday. Okay? Do you know who that team is by any chance? No. Yale in the Ivy League.
The Ivy. Okay.
And so they're the team of the week. They're 11-0 in Ivy League play and trying to go undefeated.
All right. We'll take a break. We'll come back. Much more to come. Hoop, there it is. Stay with us.
Silverback Concrete is a family-led team of heavy concrete specialists that builds commercial structures for contractors who expect unrivaled quality, including the head ball coach's restaurant, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. You only have one chance to make a building that holds up to the highest standards through all kinds of weather. Visit silverbackconcrete.co to see why they're the #1 choice in the Southeast. You stand on it, we stand by it. Silverback Concrete's got your back.
fans don't get sacked by high prices. Join the winning team at Davis Gainesville Chevrolet. This week at Davis, score big savings on our all-star Chevy selection, the most awarded brand for new vehicle quality, like Chevy's MVP, the new Silverado, with low 2.8 financing and no payments for 90 days. Plus, we're tackling high prices on the area's best GM-certified pre-owned inventory. So join the winning team at Davis Gainesville Chevrolet on North Main Street.
The most important thing I learned from my father was work ethic and integrity. Never veer away from integrity, even if it costs you money.
International Diamond Center owner Keith LeClaire.
The core value for IDC is to protect the customer.
That means offering the largest selection, uncompromising quality, the strongest warranties, and honest guidance from experts who are not paid on commission. International Diamond Center at Celebration Point. Online, shopidc.com.
Crystal Air and Water, we've got a winning offer for you. As you switch off the AC and turn on the heat, why not upgrade to a new system? Take advantage of our amazing financing options. You can get a 12.99 fixed rate for 5, 10, or 15 years, or you can score big with 12 months, same as cash financing. Don't fumble on comfort this season. Crystal Air and Water has you covered. Call them today at 352-333-0460 or visit acpenguin.com.
License number CMC 1249384.
Is your bank dropping the ball, not playing with heart or skill? Then you need to check out the scouting report on Campus USA Credit Union. That's a 5-star recruit if I've ever seen one. Campus has it all, like great rates and products, friendly service, and smart game plans for you and your money. So why not put some star power in your financial life? Visit campuscu.com or any campus service center today.
Honey, can I recruit you to take the garbage out?
Meldon Law has been serving personal injury victims since 1971. In those days, Jeffrey Meldon's presence as an attorney in the music scene dubbed him with the nickname the Hippie Attorney. And although times have changed, two things haven't: our commitment to bettering our community by helping the injured.
Albert, are you ready to go to the game?
And our love for the Florida Gators.
If you bleed orange and blue, Meldon Law is the firm for you.
At Titan MRI and Imaging, you'll visit the only locally owned and operated MRI imaging center in town. Start feeling better today. It's your choice. TitanMRI.com.
We are about halfway through our Hoop There It Is for today, but much more to discuss. Again, if you have a question you want to ask us live, we will certainly take it from you. Sub of the Week brought to you by Miapa Latin Cafe. Discover 11 delicious Cuban sandwiches at Miapa Latin Cafe with 5 locations in Gainesville and Alachua, never far from the best Cuban food north of Miami.
Okay, I did a lot of digging on this one. Branton Napper comes off the bench for Santa Clara.
You did do digging.
Yes. And he made 3 of 7 from beyond the arc, and I think he had 18 points in the game. So you're going to say, well, what's the big deal about that? Well, his 3 threes helped Santa Clara make 23 threes in the game. Santa Clara with a road route at Washington State. Thanks in large part, Sub of the Week, Branton Napper. But more importantly, you make 23 threes, you're going to win a game.
Before I go on, there's something I was going to ask of you, and while it's on my mind, I'm going to ask it now. CBSSports.com had a column last week, and it talked about the travel that the Big Ten and the Big 12 and the ACC have to do.
Right.
Very interesting to me that Louisville, Duke, and Clemson did not have to make West Coast trips this year.
Right.
Going into the week, last week, they had some ridiculous, like 1-7, you know what?
Right.
And I get it. It's money. But I said it at the time. They had no regard for athletes, no regard for missing class, no regard for what that travel does. You know, the NBA groups those games.
Right.
Do you think that's coming
and
in
college has done that.
To
if you go to the West Coast, you play a 2-game
A 2-game, right.
Yeah.
But should you play more?
No.
Okay.
You know, that bed was made when the conference expansion happened.
Correct.
Okay?
Yes.
I will tell you, I agree with you. Student-athletes' welfare is kind of way down the pecking order.
Yeah.
I would be more concerned if you said Louisville, Duke, and
Clemson.
Clemson don't go west, then they have to go west next year.
Right.
I mean, if I'm a coach in that league, that's going to be my bellwether judgment.
Yes.
Is that they have to make those trips next year. Again, what's the root of all this?
Well, of course.
Yeah, I mean,
but you know,
it's dollars.
The hypocrisy.
Well, here's the other thing I would tell you: classes missed. That's a misnomer. There's no such thing as classes missed. There are too many online. It's just
right.
You and I are from a different elk, and we
Yes.
think that way. But no one, no fan cares if their kids go to class or not.
No.
If you're winning.
That's right.
Okay?
Yeah.
And I say that everybody understands what I mean in this day and age of online classes.
All right. Games to look for, brought to you by Florida Victorious. Game-changing plays, life-changing impact. Florida Victorious, proud partner of the Florida Gators on and off the court.
Well, oddly enough, one of the biggest bubble teams, and I haven't looked this morning on Lenardi's list, but I think they were in the first 4 out or the last 4 in, is North Carolina. North Carolina is at Florida State tonight. And I don't think North Carolina is good enough this year to overlook anybody. That is a huge game for Carolina. So that's tonight. Tomorrow night, the Florida-Georgia game, resume protector for Florida again. It'll end up being a quad one opportunity, so I should correct myself because I think Georgia's somewhere in the 40s. So that will be a quad one opportunity. Wednesday night, Kentucky at Oklahoma, I mentioned. Texas at Arkansas. Oh, my goodness. That's Bubblicious versus Bubblicious.
It is.
Okay. Thursday night, North Texas is chasing Memphis. They're the second best team in the American. They're on the road at FAU. Friday night, Kent State at Akron. I say that because there's not many games on Friday night. That's 2 of the 4 best teams in the MAC going at it. Saturday, Auburn at Kentucky. I don't think Kentucky's good enough to beat Auburn right now unless Lamont Butler and Jackson Robinson play. If they don't play, I don't see it happening. Bama is at Tennessee. That's a really, really interesting matchup. Missouri's at Vandy. That's a huge opportunity for Vandy. I talked about Vanderbilt is 6-8 in the league. I think 2 more wins gets them in for sure. 1 more gets them in the conversation. Then Sunday, Northern Iowa at the Bradley Braves, the team that I talked about earlier. So that's a good matchup in the Valley.
Let me ask about coaching security without mentioning a coach's name. But I think it hurts coaches to see what Missouri did.
Well,
I mean, is that the exception? Yes.
Yeah. Again, that's such a, wow, what a roller coaster their 3 years have been on because Dennis Gates, Coach of the Year, his first year, they go to the NCAA tournament. Not only go to the NCAA tournament, but win a game in the tournament. And then whatever could go wrong last year went wrong in terms of injuries, players not playing well. And then this year they've been sensational. And everybody wants to make a big deal about them getting beat the other night. It's the rigors of this league. I mean, I think Jimmy Dykes came up with this statement, and I'm going to agree with it. The only league that's better than the SEC this year is the league that plays 82 games. That's the only league that's better.
But I guess my point in Missouri is an athletic director looks and says,
"Yeah,
you can turn this around." Does that play at all?
I think each individual case is different. Caleb Grill didn't play hardly at all last year because he was hurt. John Tanji, who is a transfer for them last year, is playing lights out at Wisconsin right now. So it just kind of went all wrong. Everything is a little bit different. I would look at more of a trend than I would year to year.
Okay.
Meaning I would look at a 3 or 4 year trend before I would look at it one particular year.
Baller of the Week brought to you by Crystal Air and Water. Family owned and operated Crystal Air and Water services air conditioners, furnaces, boilers, and more for Gainesville, Alachua, and nearby areas. We're not comfortable till you are.
Mike Morgan and I have been doing a thing called M&M List, and we did mid-season awards a couple of weeks ago. And the hardest one at that particular time to gauge, in my view, was transfer of the year in the SEC. I think that is now over, and I'm going to give that. We gave it then. I'm going to continue to give it to Chaz Lanier from Tennessee. I don't think there's any question that Tennessee would not be where they are without Chaz Lanier taking up for the offensive slack left by Dalton Connect from a year ago. Chaz Lanier last week went for 21 and 8 rebounds against Vanderbilt. But against TAMU the other day, that's my shorthand for Texas A&M, he went for 30, made 8 of 13 from beyond the arc. He's the transfer of the year. He's the baller of the week.
If Tennessee, we all know how good they are defensively. Tennessee.
Correct. And A&M is too.
Yes. And look, I know I'm going to say something that's about as obvious as you can get, but you've made this point many times. When you throw that defense in there and they make shots,
no.
Hard to beat.
That's correct. When their offense matches their defense, they're really difficult.
Yeah.
I just think it's much more difficult to get your defense to match your offense the other way around.
And that and Barnes has always been sort of a defensive.
Oh, no
guy,
question.
Right?
No
Is
question.
Buzz that way too?
Well, they do it in completely different ways.
Right.
Because Buzz is that kind of hybrid zone. They're heavy to help. I don't want to get technical here, but they're heavy to help on the weak side. So you can get opposite side threes against them, whereas Tennessee's more man-to-man. They do a great job of guarding their yard so they don't get beat off the bounce, which means they don't get into rotations defensively. So they get it done in different ways, but both extremely effective.
All right. We will take a break. We will continue with Hoop There It Is.
Titan MRI, North Central Florida's premier independent diagnostic testing MRI facility. At Titan MRI, we're focused on you, the patient, having a great customer experience. Our MRI equipment is modern and 75% quieter than any unit in its class. And our MRI unit has one of the largest openings of any of the newer high-strength MRI units, which allows comfortable scanning for potential claustrophobic and larger patients. At Titan MRI, we look forward to serving you.
The most important thing I learned from my father was work ethic and integrity. Never veer away from integrity, even if it costs you money.
International Diamond Center owner Keith LeClaire.
The core value for IDC is to protect the customer.
That means offering the largest selection, uncompromising quality, the strongest warranties, and honest guidance from experts who are not paid on commission. International Diamond Center at Celebration Point. Online, shopidc.com.
I'm David Steele, voice of the Gators in 1984, when Brian Nasworth began a new journey, starting Quality Plumbing.
And I'm Mick Hubert. When I was the voice of the Gators, I called championship games, while Quality Plumbing was becoming champions for the Gainesville area.
I'm Sean Kelly, the voice of the Gators, as Quality Plumbing celebrates its 40th anniversary. For years to come, I'll be calling games, and Quality Plumbing will continue to be the #1 plumbing company for Gator Nation.
Make plans for Thursday, February 27th to be at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill to raise a glass to our Elijah Craig Single Barrel Launch Party. Be a part of an exclusive evening as we unveil our 9-year-old uncut Elijah Craig Single Barrel. Only bottled at 121.1 proof. Enjoy indulgent bourbon-inspired bites served in a casual mingle-style setting with a Spurrier's twist. Your ticket includes one exclusive bottle of Spurrier's Elijah Craig Single Barrel, signed by Steve Spurrier himself.
It's going to be a great night. Get your tickets at spurriers.com.
After you work out, you can feel worn out. Reach for core power and rise to a whole new level of recovery. Protein to build muscle. Electrolytes to help hydrate. The nutrition you need to power on. Champion your recovery with Core Power.
Fans don't get sacked by high prices. Join the winning team at Davis Gainesville Chevrolet. This week at Davis, score big savings on our all-star Chevy selection. The most awarded brand for new vehicle quality, like Chevy's MVP, the new Silverado, with low 2.8 financing and no payments for 90 days. Plus, we're tackling high prices on the area's best GM-certified pre-owned inventory. So join the winning team at Davis Gainesville Chevrolet on North Main Street.
For over 2 decades, Miapa has been a staple in Alachua County. Start your day right at Miapa, where fast and affordable authentic cuisine awaits.
We're known for serving the best Cuban coffee.
Our secret is in every sip and every bite, bringing the flavor of our culture straight to your palate. Everyone is welcome at Miapa Latin Cafe. Visit us at one of our locations and let us take you on a journey full of flavor. Miapa Latin Cafe, where every bite is a taste of tradition.
If you've got joint pain in your knees, shoulders, hip, or back that won't go away, well, first of all, welcome to the club. You need to check out QC Kinetics for long-lasting relief. QC Kinetics, 352-400-4550.
And don't forget about Silverback Concrete. They build firm foundations for generations. You stand on it. We stand by it. Silverback Concrete. Okay, Facebook Live question from John. Is Clayton the best player Florida's ever had? Watch out for St. John's in the tournament.
No. Walter Clayton is not the best player Florida's ever had. He's having a fabulous career at Florida and a fabulous season for Florida. I've been impressed with how he has handled and has grown from the off guard to the point guard. He seems to be much more comfortable with it. I think earlier in the season, he was trying to figure out, okay, when is it time for me to shoot and when is it time for me to pass? He's done a much better job of that in the last month. In some ways, I'll be shocked if he's not first team All-SEC. And now I say that, when you start doing that and you start trying to figure out, I think there are 8 players who make first team All-SEC, and you get the 7th and 8th guy, it's really hard.
It is, because there's a lot of talent.
Yeah.
What I've liked, Clayton, John, has not shot the ball as well lately, but his assists are up.
Yeah, again, I mean, he impacts winning in so many ways.
And that, sometimes shooters don't.
No, I think I think he has not let his shooting, which sometimes can be streaky, impact the other parts of his game.
Yes, and that's why I think
which is a process for a lot of players.
Yes.
My shot's not making, I can't help us.
Right. Let's do a Gator Women's Basketball check-in brought to you by Meldon Law. With 50 years of experience, the only accident law firm partner of the Florida Gators, Meldon Law, won't back down. Well, they had Tennessee at the half,
right?
But there's 4 quarters.
Yeah, well, that's the way it goes.
Yeah.
I mean, again, the SEC, I think, has the second most ranked teams in women's basketball. It's no different than, we talked about some teams on the men's side just trying to claw out wins. That's difficult to get on a roll if you're on either side, the men or the women, in terms of winning 2, 3, 4 in a row. So good road win at Texas A&M for them. I will tell you, though, the NC State over Notre Dame yesterday, I watched some of that, 104-95 in 2 overtimes, a game that had 21 lead changes. It was good stuff. But another one bites the dust in terms of another number 1 team. And the women's side of the SEC, there's a race at the top. I mean, that's kind of fun to watch. LSU survived Kentucky yesterday on the road, but Texas, LSU, South Carolina, I think they all only have 1 loss. It's going to be quite a race to the finish. And the women's regular season play ends, I think, is it this week? I think or soon. And there are a lot of men's conference regular season conference play
ends.
Spit that out.
Yeah.
Ends this weekend because tournament play starts next week.
Yeah, it's March.
Yeah, championship champ week starts March 8th for ESPN.
Pretty close.
Yeah.
Pretty close. Top 4 teams brought to you by Fairlife Core Power. Discover Core Power protein shakes by Fairlife. Explore our 26G and 42G high protein drinks, perfect for workout recovery and nutrition.
Not much has changed from me from last week. Auburn number 1, Florida number 2, Duke number 3, Alabama number 4.
Okay.
But ask me again next week.
Facebook Live question from Robert. Great show again, guys. Thank you. It seems like our success comes from tenacious defense, which feeds the offense. Do you feel the same way?
No, not at all. I think their tenacious offense feeds their defense.
Okay.
I mean, when you play really good offensively, it allows you, when the other team is taking the ball out of the net, your defense has already gotten better.
Yeah.
Because you're not giving up transition points, you're not giving up points off turnovers. So when you're so good offensively, it actually, your first line of defense is your shot selection. I don't think people understand that. The better shot you take, the better your floor balance, the better you are in transition defense. like turnovers makes your defense stink. Period.
You hear this term a lot. Defense is a mindset. Is there anything to that?
I do think there is something to it. I've said this before, the ingredients you have to have, I've added a fourth one over the years. But the three that I know you have to have, team speed. I think Florida is above average. I don't think they're great at it, but team speed. Length, Florida's got plenty of length.
Yep.
You've got to be able to impact shots at different places, meaning a rim protector. They've got some of those. You got to be able to challenge threes, close out. They've got guys that length on the perimeter. But the fourth one that I've added over the years is commitment. And that goes to what you asked. Because you can have the other three, but if you're not committed to it, then your defense will fall apart eventually.
What's the difference in Florida defensively last year to this year?
Well, Elijah Martin. It starts with him. Florida, I think, not being able to guard the ball as well. Elijah Martin is elite guarding his yard. When you get beat off the bounce, then that means somebody has to come over and help. That means somebody else has to come over and help the
helper, right.
And so you just want to stay out of rotations. Florida, for the most part, stays out of rotations.
All right. We'll take a break, wrap it up. We still have time to hear from you, however, as our Hoop There It Is continues.
Crystal Air and Water, we've got a winning offer for you. As you switch off the AC and turn on the heat, why not upgrade to a new system? Take advantage of our amazing financing options. You can get a 12.99 fixed rate for 5, 10, or 15 years, or you can score big with 12 months, same as cash financing. Don't fumble on comfort this season. Crystal Air and Water has you covered. Call them today at 352-333-0460 or visit acpenguin.com.
License number CMC 1249384.
The State Farm Personal Price Plan helps you create an affordable price just for you.
Contact local agent Roos Ogra for your personal price plan today.
Meldon Law has been serving personal injury victims since 1971. In those days, Jeffrey Meldon's presence as an attorney in the music scene dubbed him with the nickname the Hippie Attorney. And although times have changed, two things haven't. Our commitment to bettering our community by helping the injured.
Albert, are you ready to go to the game?
And our love for the Florida Gators.
If you bleed orange and blue, Meldon Law is the firm for you.
Is your bank dropping the ball, not playing with heart or skill? Then you need to check out the scouting report on Campus USA Credit Union. That's a 5-star recruit if I've ever seen one. Campus has it all, like great rates and products, friendly service, and smart game plans for you and your money. So why not put some star power in your financial life? Visit campuscu.com or any campus service center today.
Honey, can I recruit you to take the garbage out?
Silverback Concrete is a family-led team of heavy concrete specialists that builds commercial structures for contractors who expect unrivaled quality, including the head ball coach's restaurant, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. You only have one chance to make a building that holds up to the highest standards through all kinds of weather. Visit silverbackconcrete.co to see why they're the #1 choice in the Southeast. You stand on it, we stand by it. Silverback Concrete's got your back.
I'm tired of you living in pain, and I want you to get real lasting relief from chronic pain in your knees, back, shoulders, and hips. QC Kinetics can get you moving again with cutting-edge regenerative treatments with no drugs, no downtime, and no surgery. Stop putting it off. Call now and schedule your free consultation. Call QC Kinetics now in Gainesville, Ocala, and the Villages. 352-400-4550. 352-400-4550.
Florida Victorious is a powerful chapter in UF's NIL story.
We are
Florida Victorious.
Gator fans. Let's get on board now, okay?
Florida Victorious, proud NIL partner of the Florida Gators.
At Titan MRI and Imaging, you'll visit the only locally owned and operated MRI imaging center in town. Start feeling better today. It's your choice. TitanMRI.com.
I want to thank all of you who have talked to us via Facebook Live. I want to thank Campus USA Credit Union for sponsoring that. And our Final few minutes here. Where does the Mark White? I was going to ask you about Mike White.
You haven't done that all year.
No, I haven't. Where does the Mark Wise train take us?
I am off this midweek, and on Saturday afternoon, I have LSU at Mississippi State. It'll be an important game for Mississippi State as a resume protector, but probably more important, they lost on the road at Oklahoma the other day. I think they gave up 93 points. Midweek, they're at Alabama. So chances are they're going to be coming into that game on a 2-game losing streak. And as we talked about all season, in this league, you better have humility when you win and amnesia when you lose. So I think it'll end up being a really important game for Mississippi State at home.
I think for some people who are watching and heard you say Georgia's capable of beating Florida, I agree.
Yeah.
But as you see that matchup, what do you see?
Well, Georgia needs to make threes at a better rate than what they've been making. They've kind of been in again, this is a bad league to have a tough shooting year. I think when I looked at it last week, I did not look at it this morning. There are 4 teams in the league that are shooting below 30% at the arc. Georgia's one of them. None of those 4 teams have a winning record in the league, which just kind of goes to my point of you've got to make shots at the end of the day. So, but with Blue Kane, with Silas Demery on the perimeter, they've got a great freshman in Asa Newell. I really like him a lot. But those 2 guys, Demery and Kane, must make threes for Georgia to pull the upset. And I say upset. It's tomorrow. I haven't looked, but I'm guessing the line on the game is inside 5 points. I'm sure.
Yeah, but it's still an upset.
Home advantage.
Yeah. Kansas got waxed.
BYU.
Right.
Yeah.
And UConn is struggling a little bit. Some of the blue bloods aren't doing so well. Who's a team that may be struggling now, Mark, but if they sort of get either injured players back or, they can flip a switch, who could be dangerous?
Well,
because I don't think Kansas shoots the ball well enough.
No, they don't. They've kind of had an uneven year. Wow, you're asking me.
Well,
outside of my first thought is outside the league.
Yeah.
And I don't know that there's anybody outside the league that I would put in that vein.
Okay.
I think Michigan State's under the radar.
I do too.
They went to Michigan and won the other day, beat Dusty May's team. Congratulations to Dusty May for getting a contract extension. Is there a team out there? I'm just not thinking of one in terms of somebody that's got a player out. The team that's got a player out that needs him back is right here. And I'm not saying that from a standpoint of wins or losses. I'm just talking about the ceiling that Florida can play with. But they need Condon back.
Indiana got an upset win.
Yeah. Did you see that? Did you see the scores?
No.
They were down 12 at half, and I want to say they outscored Purdue by 30 in the second half.
Because it was a big margin.
It was a big margin. It was unbelievable.
Must have been the chair throwing.
I did see that. I thought that was pretty cool. The 40th anniversary of the chair toss, and that's the chair that Mike Woodson.
Yeah, he says that's the chair.
Yeah, that's the chair.
Big win for them. I mean, if they have any.
Yeah, they've still got work to do. Yeah. Everybody puts teams into the locked, should be in, work to do. They're in the work to do list still for the Big Ten.
Arkansas intrigues me, and you kind of mentioned it. We'll end with this at the top of the broadcast here. I think they still have work to do. Are they? I think they're playing a little better now.
Oh, there's no question. Jonell Davis is playing better. Ivasic gives them a legit stretch 5 who can knock down threes. They're 4-9 in quad 1. Everybody goes, well, it's not the 9 that's important. It's the 4. And so if they can pick off 1 or 2 more, they're in the 40s, low 40s in terms of net. That's good. Their predictive metrics are okay. They're a bubble team. They're going to be, in my opinion, they will live in the last 4 in, first 4 out from now until Selection Sunday.
I agree with you. For Florida, I mean, we talked about Georgia, but obviously going on the road's never easy. But I mean,
Right.
but if Florida continues to play, and let's go back to Chinula for a second. I don't think anybody saw his point
Right.
production coming, so
Right.
you never know when to give a
But
night who helps you.
don't expect that every
Right.
night because
But-
you've played 25 games.
Yeah.
He's not going to give you that every night. I would suggest that Florida start the game much better in the first half than they did at LSU. Georgia's a better team. You get down against Georgia 7, 8, 10 points at half, you're asking for trouble.
Okay. That's going to be our hoop. There it is for this week and today. Thanks to Zach for producing it. We thank you for watching it. Until next week, for Mark Wise, I'm Steve Russell. Thank you for watching. See you later.
We thank you for listening to Hoop There It Is with Steve Russell and ESPN's Mark Wise. Hoop There It Is, a service of Silverback Concrete, Titan MRI, and QC Kinetics. It's available for you via podcast at WRU.